My name is Riley Johnson, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my very first YouTube video. I have wanted to start a YouTube channel for a while now, so this is a really exciting moment for me. I'm very excited to be here. First up, you're gonna see a lot of informative gym content. Now, I'm a certified personal trainer. I love going to the gym, I love working out, I love cooking, nutrition, anything that has to do with health and wellness and the fitness realm is a huge passion for me, so that is something you're going to see a lot of on this channel. Additionally, I am an actor, and I know you're thinking, personal trainer, actor. That's a weird combo. I know. Here's the thing. From the time that I was very little, I always thought it would be the coolest thing in the world to be an actor, to create a character, portray a character, and be somebody else on a TV screen. That was always a huge interest for me. I never really gave myself the chance to develop that passion further, so as I got older, I decided that I was going to put myself out there and start developing those skills. Even if it ends up just being a side hobby, passion, it is something that makes me really happy. So you're going to be seeing a lot of that content as well, as far as acting classes, self-tapes, auditions, kind of just the things that are behind the scenes of the life of an actor that a lot of people don't see, especially those who are just starting out and trying to see if they could turn their acting into a career, which is something I am kind of exploring around a little bit. And finally, I am very, and if I had to pick one thing to talk about primarily over everything else, it would be mental health. I'm a psychology major at Grand Canyon University, and I am very serious about the entire world of mental health, as far as mental health awareness, destigmatizing mental health, and really pressing and urging for further education in school systems regarding mental health, including anxiety and depression. I think it's really important for younger kids to learn about these things a lot sooner than they do. They shouldn't be learning about it when they're diagnosed. They should learn about it long beforehand, and I think that if I had learned a little bit more about anxiety and depression and mental health before I was diagnosed, I would have been able to see the signs better, and I wouldn't have struggled for so long not recognizing what was going on with me and why I was struggling so hard. Mental health is something we're going to talk about a lot on this channel, ranging from reflection and mindfulness techniques to even my own struggles with anxiety and depression as well. It's something that I am really passionate about and really want to fold into this channel as much as possible. Now, I know that seems like a lot of things for one person to be so interested in, but I think that every human has so much more than just one interest in life. We have different things we love, different things that we're passionate about, and these are my primary passions, and I don't feel comfortable just choosing one thing to talk about or one thing to focus in on. I want to explore each and every one of these passions to the fullest, and that is why they are all going to be featured all of the time. Through this content, I'm really just hopeful that I can put a smile on even just one person's face, and if I can do that, I will feel like I am doing something right. So, now that we have wrapped up the long intro to this video, let's move on to the content that you probably came here for. First off, I want to tell you a little bit about the ISSA personal training certification course. So when I signed up to take the course, I had gotten it at a time where it was on sale. I got a really great deal on it, and that is why I purchased the course when I did. Now, I took my time with this course. A lot of people will take up to a month, 2 months, and they'll get through it pretty quickly if they have the time to do so. I did not. I was in school full-time over the summer, taking online classes so that I could graduate a semester early. So I did not have necessarily the same amount of time on my hands. I took almost my entire course allowance to learn the material. There are several different ways that you can learn the course material with ISSA. I'm not sure how it is on other personal training platforms and certification sites, but through ISSA you have the option to do the fast track, learn from the textbook, watch the lecture videos, or do all three. You really can go about it any way that you feel comfortable with. Personally, I get kind of bored by lecture videos, and I know that that sounds really weird, like, Riley, how do you learn the movements of these different exercises if you're not watching the videos? That's different. When it came to learning the movements and the techniques, I did watch the lecture videos for that content. However, for the rest of the material throughout the course, I decided to go the route of using the fast track program. The fast track program was split into 6 different sections. Each section went over 3 or 4 chapters. It really kind of depends on which section you are in. And for those sections, I took notes. A lot of notes. I'm a big note taker. I love taking notes. I love my notes to be clean and organized and constructed in a way that helps me feel as though I can easily find what I'm looking for at any given point. The way I approach note-taking is that I like to read through some of the material first, and then I will go through and write down the material. By first reading the material and then going back and writing it down, I feel like I'm going through it twice and really ensuring that I'm cementing that information in my brain a little bit. That being said, there is a lot of information that goes into the personal training program. You're probably not going to memorize all of it. I didn't. Which is why it was so important for me to take notes so that I was able to go back and reflect on what I had learned a couple of months ago before I took my test. My notes are very organized and they're color-coded. I like to write my different terms in a color and then the rest of the notes in black. The other thing I found with the fast track program was that there are a lot of charts. Now, this is probably how it is in the textbook as well, but if you are like me, I don't like writing out charts or trying to copy them myself because I find that they get messy and they just look terrible. So I chose to print off the different charts and tape them in where they went according to the fast track program. So you can see I printed it off. It just makes it so much more clean and organized. I'm able to find what I'm looking for. The other reason that I printed off the charts is because there were a lot of them. For example, here I have several back-to-back charts. And if I turn the page, there's more back-to-back charts. If I had to write all of that information out, I probably would have wanted to bash my head into a wall. So instead, I read through all the information on all of the charts, and then I went, printed them off, taped them all in, and read through them again once they were in my notebook. Now, this notebook isn't completely full because it is a very large 5-subject notebook, but I did take up a good 2 subjects worth of space in this notebook, and I think that that leaves me with a lot of room to add other things as I learn throughout time. As I mentioned before, I really took my time with this certification course because I had to fit it in with my school schedule. So what that looked like for me was doing a chapter or 2 a day and then doing schoolwork, and there were a couple of times where I wasn't able to even touch my certification program information for a good week at a time. That being said, every time I picked up my notebook and went to add to my notes, I did take the time to go back and review a little bit of what I had done before just to refresh my memory. Once I had finished all of the notes through all of the fast track program, it was time to take the practice test. Now for the practice test, this could be different with other certification programs, but with ISSA, there were 15 or 16 practice quizzes and each one had 10 questions on it. I took each of the quizzes in order, and instead of using my notes to take the quizzes, I decided to go through all of them and just see what information I knew and was comfortable with and what information I needed to refresh myself on and work on the most. Once I was done with all 15 or 16 practice quizzes, I went back and I looked at any of the quizzes that I had less than 80% on. For those quizzes that were less than 80%, I would go in, see what question I got wrong, find it in my notes, mark the page, and then move on to the next question. I did that through all of them, and then I retook all of those tests just so I could ensure that I really was learning that information and memorizing it going into that final exam. And now, the final exam. The final exam was stressful for me. I have horrible test anxiety, and even if I know the information, I will second guess myself. I will look at the question, know exactly what the answer is, and then second guess myself and choose the wrong one because my brain tells me that I am wrong. So to say I was nervous to take the final test is an understatement. The final exam had 200 questions, and it was broken down into 6 sections. So there was 33 to 34 questions per section. What was nice about it was that once you log in and start the exam, you don't have to do it all in one sitting. You are able to log off, take a break, take it over a period of a couple of days. There was no time expectation or time limit for it, which made it a lot easier to feel comfortable and not get tired and restless as I was going through those 200 questions. This would also be really convenient if you're somebody who doesn't have a lot of time in their schedule and you need to take just one section at a time for that final test, or even just half of a section at a time for that final test. You're able to do that and come back to it later when you do have time again, which is really, really convenient. Personally, I took the first section of the test the same day that I did all the practice quizzes. So once I was done with all of the practice quizzes, I went in, I started the final exam, and I did the first section that night, and then I saved my answers, logged off, went to bed, and said I will handle the rest of it tomorrow. The next day, I had a couple of other things to do throughout the day, so I didn't get to start on it immediately, but when I had time, I sat down, I did the second section and the third section. I got some lunch, did some house cleaning that I needed to do, refreshed my brain for a little bit, and then I sat down, and at that point I was really motivated to just finish out the rest of the test. So I did section 4, section 5, and section 6 all in one sitting. Once I was done with the last section, I went all the way back to the beginning and I just went through and reviewed all of my answers to make sure that that was definitely what I wanted to submit and that's what I felt was the correct answer to the question. Another thing I really loved was that the course does not let you submit your final exam until you have answered every single question. So there is no chance of submitting it, missing a question, and being penalized for missing that question. Once I had reviewed all of my answers and I was confident that I was ready to submit my final exam, I pressed the submit button, I closed my eyes, and I waited that awful 30-second wait for the results to load, and naturally, covering my face, kind of peeked through my fingers, hoping to see a positive message, and thankfully, it popped up, said, "Congratulations, you've passed your final exam." I was immediately able to download my certificate, which was really exciting. I got to send it to my parents. They were very proud. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that this is the same with every personal training certification program. But the certification lasts for 2 years before you have to renew it, and I believe there is a fee for renewing it. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to assume that there is because nothing in life is free. And that is everything that I did to pass my personal training certification exam. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video.